Yeah, thank you. I think when we think about innovation in the IT world for the state of Maine, we're really looking forward to, and you asked your question about the last year, but it's really been a couple-year journey for us. And the journey has been about bringing a culture of agile to the workforce and moving away from sort of the older methodologies about waterfall and things like that. So we're moving to a culture of agile where we're going to deliver fast. We're already delivering fast. So we're doing a lot of projects now agile. We're doing a lot of business process management where we can develop applications very quickly. And because of that, we've found ways to work with our agency partners and build things quicker. We've even created something we call the 40-hour application, where we look at a business problem and say, that's solvable by just a little bit of effort with a little bit of development and work, and we can build a nice solution to that, whether it might be somebody working in the field that just can't get access to data or needs decision making or things like that. We find a lot of these sort of smaller problems that we can fix very quickly as opposed to always doing a 2 or 3 year project. So it's really about agile and about speed of development. Well, I think it's been a couple of things, and one is that culture of agile. It's a multi-year journey, and it requires a lot of training, and it requires a lot of leadership from my team to help agencies and my own staff understand there's a new way to do things. So there's been a lot of work on that place, in that perspective. On the other side, on the infrastructure side, we're doing things like, starting to roll out Office 365 and things like that require a tremendous amount of coordination and working and touching a lot of devices and working with a lot of agencies and setting up timeframes to do this. But we think the journey is well worth it because there's a lot of pluses on that. Well, maybe not in any set order, but obviously cybersecurity. Top of everyone's list right now is cybersecurity and the threats and how we deal with that. I think workforce development, and I think about that in a couple ways. One is about the silver tsunami, the baby boomers that are retiring in Maine will lose about 24% of our workforce, which equals thousands upon thousands of years of experience. And then how do you replace that, and how do you ease that transition? Because when you get to something like 24%, that's really transformational. That's a different organization when you come out the other side of that. So those type of things are sort of top of my mind. And the third one, again, is probably the agile BPM. How can I bring more and more of this value to the agency partners quickly? Well, I think, the biggest challenges are probably around workforce. Not only the workforce leaving, but how do you brand what you're doing to attract younger resources to come in, younger people to come in and say, yeah, I want to work for the state. And, we think that maybe the idea of somebody working for the state for their whole career, probably that idea is fading away a little bit, but people might come in for 3, 4, 5 years. We give them tremendous opportunity, tremendous experience they might not have in other companies. But those are the type of challenges where we say, do I have the resources to go on this innovative path that we want to go on? Well, like most places, we'll do research, we'll do industry research, we'll do a lot of things like with NASCIO and other organizations like that really are shared experiences, because one of the nice things about being in government work is you're not in competition with anyone, you're in partnership. And in Maine is a very small state, 1.3 million people, and we have X number of companies and stuff. I've been able to create what I call the CIO Council, where I bring CIOs from private business together with us in the government and say, what are you seeing? What are you seeing in the industry? Where are trends going? What are things we should think about? So it's that education part of it, and that finding partnerships where you can say, let's do this together, because we're not in competition. And the wonderful thing about citizens, they want to help, right? Everybody feels that we can help. It's an obligation. So it's great to tap into some of that vast experience in the private industry. Yeah, it definitely is the one that keeps people up at night. It's not abating at all, right? The threats are still out there. The challenges are still out there. And, a state is not going to have the resources that a private company might have to deal with cybersecurity. And, the fact of the matter is you're really one click away from having a problem. Somebody gets a phishing email and they click on it, and all of a sudden you got a problem. And, we do, like most states, we fend off thousands of probes a day. We'll rebuild 15 to 20 machines a day that might have gotten infected. So we have a couple of layers. We have a cybersecurity team, and we have a couple of layers even beyond the firewall and the scanning and the logging and all those things you would expect to do. We've also worked hard to build a partnership with other organizations in Maine, and that includes Maine Emergency Management, includes the National Guard, includes private companies, and includes the universities. In fact, we're part of something called Maine Cybersecurity Cluster, working with the universities and private business, where the university has led the charge to build both a cyber lab and to work with the Department of Homeland Security, and to both help organizations understand the threat and to build those resources. They're training a lot of cyber resources. We find it's amazingly popular major right now because people are interested, it's in the news, and obviously there's a lot of jobs out there. And so we're combining those together, the need and the people that can help us supply the need, working together to try and address the issues. I guess I would say in bullets, I'd say there's three things: understanding the threat, working with other organizations for best practices and to work together. And the third is education. Education really about state employees, about the threat. It's a continual education. The governor in our state issued an executive order saying that every state employee must go through mandatory cybersecurity training once a year. And keeping that in the forefront of people, getting people to think about it and say, you really cannot let your guard down on these things. So it's understanding the threat, it's the partnership, and it's the education.